Every time I say that's not touching me, the first thing I think of is Lilo and Stitch. Sort of one. Like, oh man, I'm so dead. I have so many cards in hand, I don't even know what's going on anymore. Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing some Azorius artifacts. I played Bant previously. I talked about playing Teamer, but right now I'm going to go back to its roots and play blue-white artifacts. And one of the major things to take away here is we're not super heavy on counter spells. We are playing 2 copies of 3 Steps Ahead, which you can argue is just a copy effect a lot of times in this deck. It is 2 extra copies of Synthesizer, or just like extra copies of something like a Mightstone and Weakstone that we can use as kind of instant speed removal on something if we have a situation where we can copy it and draw, so we can kind of look at a draw 4 on our opponent's end step and things like that. Realistically, if we're against control, we're kind of holding this as a last bastion, basically. Whenever we can get enough Synthesizers to win the game and our opponent goes to cast a Sunfall, we can then use 3 Steps Ahead to protect it. But outside of that, our whole deck revolves around this card, a card that we probably, if we've been playing Standard for a while, should know already. But whenever it enters the battlefield, we scry to when another artifact you control with mana value 3 or greater enters the battlefield. We make a construct that gets a 1/1 for every artifact we control. So main thing here is if you don't have a whole lot of new cards and you have a lot of the old cards, there's not a new card in here. And I know that's not very exciting, but give me a second. The thing about a meta change is sometimes old things work better because the new cards fell out. Or not the new cards, but the old cards fell out. And the things that were hard to beat then are no longer in the meta to stop you. So realistically, even though this doesn't necessarily play new cards, this actually helps us take advantage of the current meta. For example, you'll see at the very beginning that it helps us take out a Boros player. Spoilers, by the way, but we end up beating a Boros player, even though it shows up multiple times in the video, that normally in Urbrass Forge is kind of hard to beat, but we just make giant 30-30s or 20-20s, and they just can't do much about it, and we just kind of grind those games out. So mid-range being super popular, we have an opportunity to kind of take advantage of that. So we're going to see how well Azorius artifacts can do that, and then see where we can go from there. So outside of that, we're going to go ahead and hop into the games. I hope you all enjoyed the video. And if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing, and let's just go ahead and head out there and see if the artifact can actually take over the meta. I go first. Hand's pretty heavy, but I'm going to try it. When I refer to a hand as heavy, it just means like the mana cost in it is pretty expensive. But if they're slower or they're discard or whatever, then we're pretty fine as long as we can get a Synthesizer to resolve. We'll play another land, just implying that we're blue-white control. You know, that's the thing about playing this deck. No deep camera bat. Nice. We'll play a Mirrex, and I'll put a Synthesizer on the stack. Normally, just kind of a GG in a lot of these matchups anyway. Both of those can go to the bottom. I don't really need that. And then I'll play an Adarkar Wastes, play 1,000 Moon Smithy, making 2 constructs, and just kind of firing off the cannons right away. Synthesizer in general, a hard card to beat. Go for the throat, not going to get it done anytime soon. Or cut down for the mono black deck. Liliana can obviously do stuff, but I can't think of a card in black that can exile or blow up artifacts outside of just kind of like being temporary board wipes. So there's my artifact 3/3 that go for the throat cannot get rid of, or long goodbye I guess could. Here's 2 4/4s that will only get bigger as the game kind of progresses. Maybe they do. Maybe they have it. I guess they could have Blast Zone. Blast Zone's an option for these Synthesizers, but you still have to deal with the constructs until then. That's kind of the hard part overall. Like, hurt you and then cut down? That works. Now my other creature's small. But we can already see the pressure that the cards that we are playing imply, or apply, is what I was trying to say. Do this. We'll make another token. I'm just going to draw 2 cards. Obviously not going to -5/-5 there. My opponent can win if all I do is draw lands for the rest of the game. So that could happen. Hopefully it doesn't. I can kind of hold priority here. Just see what my opponent does, because I think most likely I'm going to flip this 1,000 Moon Smithy. Yeah, so trigger here. Yeah, so I'm going to bring up, I guess I want to make a Mirrex because it's also an Marina, you gotta be kidding me, bro. I wanted to do it with my mana so I can... Whatever. Draw a card. Yes. Now flip that artifact. I'm so mad about that, dude. I just like auto did it, and I just like... I should have tapped my mana. So basically what I wanted to do is I wanted to make a Mirrex token, tap my stuff, and then have this come in as an untap land. So if I did draw like this, I would make more constructs as the game moves on. Up to 6. I have 2 7/7s. And I have a flyer, Hopeless Nightmare. Bad part about that card is I have plenty of lands to spare. And my Mightstone and Weakstone can remove the Harvester from play. Depending what my opponent does here. Liliana. Okay. So far, so good for me. Get rid of the plains. We had plenty of lands. That's the case. They hit for 5 and then lose the game. Sure. That's this. Idiots. Keep this one. Get another token. Do my thing. These are 16 to 17, but we're still going to bring up this land and attack. So, cool. Mono black had a chance a little, as you can see, but ultimately, Synthesizer is just like impossible for that deck to beat. Mono goes first. Add multiple removal plus the Synthesizer, so this is definitely a snap off hand. We have the kind of anchorage here. Now I can't necessarily, like, I can and I can't beat an Urbrass Forge. Like, they have a braid, so like Synthesizer can obviously get kind of knocked out at some point, which is tough. Whereas like an Urbrass Forge is a little bit hard for me to just like straight up remove. So we're definitely gonna have to hit more artifacts, maybe other copies of Synthesizer, or just draw lands, you know, do the usual. I'm blue-white control, you know, maybe I want to draw lands. Maybe they won't opt to just go for the Forge right away. Although, like, I'm under the impression you probably should. I always try to force it as early as possible if I have one, especially if I have a second one in hand, because of how dominant of a card that is to just win the game. Do I play this and just hit this thing? Doubtful. Glass Casket's pretty cool. Exile target creature and opponent controls mana value 3 or less. Not really what I want. Hopefully they don't have an Abrade here. Virtue? Okay. So Braid not necessarily in the cards, it seems. Mightstone, Weakstone, still a pretty good card. Foundry also not bad because I can play it next turn and also do something else. And if they abrade my Synthesizer, I can use my Foundry after I use the Glass Casket on a token to bring back my Synthesizer. Second Carrot Cake. There's no abrade yet, but you'll see what I'm talking about when we get there, if I can get there before an abrade shows up. They only play 1 to 2. They could also play the card with Spree. They keep on top, which implies it's either a Caretaker, a Braid, or a Forge. Could be a lot of things. So here we play Demo, and then tap us for a mana, opt for the Glass Casket here. Play it down now. Target here. Get rid of that. And then this is 3 mana, but I'm going to go ahead and play it down. I have 2 damage kind of on board. They can sack the Carrot Cake. They know the top card already. Best part about the Foundry kind of can be the fact that I can play this Mightstone, Weakstone, get rid of something and draw a card maybe, and then go that route. They opt to go for the pumping their creatures over and over again, which makes sense. Depending how this plan turns out for me, I can opt to go into Mirrex here. I can opt to go into most likely I need to get lost this. I can opt to go for this. Getting that down. Mightstone, Weakstone. -5/-5. Pop these things out of the way. Now I have a huge creature, and then I can also... I guess I can't get lost this, huh? Yeah. I mean, I guess then I can Urbrass Forge or the Blade either. Like, interesting the way that kind of worked out. But I have artifacts. Herbass Forge, sure. They can't really attack me anymore unless they have removal for my 5/5. Lightning Helix doesn't do it. They make another creature, sure. Come at me, bro. Come at me, bruv. No? Okay. Fair enough. Thran Spider actually a very huge pickup here. It's going to allow me to do some shenanigans like this. Please tap my colorless lands. I like mana for my 2 white cards in my hand that I need the mana for. I would appreciate to keep my mana around. Now, I am going to get aggressive because I can't wait all day, I don't think. No blocks. Sure. Now we have the option to, like, blade plus get lost, or if they attack thinking they're good, I can then get lost to virtual loyalty, like, before they get to that instep where that trigger happens after combat if they declare attackers, although I do have a giant 8/8 in front of them, so I don't imagine seeing them attack here. So we do play basics. They highlighted my Anchorage there for a second, so it looks like they might be trying to demo field. Good to see. I also have a Reacher, which is kind of cool. What's the play, Mr. Forge player? It's not an easy spot though. Like I'm not upset with this at all. This is not easy. It could be a lockdown. Lockdown would be interesting. But I could get lost to lockdown in response, and then they'd get nothing. Get rid of my Mirrex. Okay. Could I make a Mirrex token and still use my stuff? I could, but I'm not going to. I could also float a mana there, but it still just doesn't matter. I want to grab a normal blue mana here. So, like, I have a little bit more blue to access instead of the Adarkar Wastes that pings me. But right now I have, like, multiple colorless here. We're going to make a rabbit. Sure. Again, we're hitting this get lost, or this virtue here. Now, they have a second one. So, it's a little bit interesting. Well, they opt to go all-out attack. Oh, whoa, bro! They can't... I get a pause there, Arena. Like, don't go straight to their second main where I can't... Whatever, man. Sure, untap them, make them bigger for apparently no reason whatsoever. That's so annoying, dude. Oh, man. I'm gonna deck then. No. Like... I know I can put a stop here, but Arena stops me any other time. Like, if there's a blast zone of mine in play, it stops me every millisecond to ask me a question. But there's like a super important situation in play, and they're like, nah, we're gonna skip it. I don't have the mana to activate, which kind of sucks. I wish I did. Be super cool, but obviously we're gonna opt to kind of sit here like this for a second. I think I still attack with an 8/8, just a single one, just a little one, a little attack here. Could have a Helix, so I do have to be careful with that. One block. I'll take a double block too, because like the more tokens of theirs I get off the battlefield, like it's fine, right? Is now like my board, sure, a little bit smaller, but at the same time it's still just the same size. This is 7 mana. This can't be used for Urza. That's why Urza is not activatable, but the Thran Spider is. So the kind of the Fabrication Foundry is why one of these can be touched and the other one cannot. Sunfall. Sure. I'll activate here though. I will grab... I guess she's supposed to be Braided Net. The reason I grabbed Braided Net over Second Synthesizer, even though Second Synthesizer does feel kind of unbeatable, right? But the reason we grab Braided Net instead is because I can tap this thing repeatedly, but it'll also make a construct, and then I can make a construct. So it's like fine. And then I can draw a ton of cards and try to make this game unlosable, but I keep still somehow finding lands to ruin my whole day. I have no artifacts in there. That's kind of crazy. I fire this up. Make a construct, like I said. And then, do I want to attack with this? Make that artifact and then do this? Or do I have the mana to do both? White mana here. Colorless. Let's use this for my blue. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do both here. Craft. Let's use this. Then I have the white mana floating. White. Here. Blue. It's got to be blue. Activate this. We draw all these cards. And then I can say next. Next. And then end. I can discard the Seachrome Coast because obviously it's the card. Like if I'm going to play a tap land, I'd much rather it be this one. And now I have synthesizers after synthesizer after synthesizer. Temporary lockdown, sure. Now that gets like all their stuff as well. So I'm not that opposed to this. So a couple of my things go. Thankfully we exiled kind of the right thing. Now they come in hot with that. I fired the spring-loaded trap off. We pick this up. Again, it's only got one, so they can sack it in response to draw a card, sure. But then I'm going to opt to synthesizer myself. And then I can synthesizer again. If I could stop drawing lands, that'd be super exciting. Let's play synthesizer. 3 steps ahead is pretty cool. I'll play this synthesizer now. Make a construct. Braided Net's also sick. For reasons we've already talked about. Then I can opt to just go ahead and fire off another synthesizer. Might as well, I think. There's only so many board wipes my opponent can play, or I make lose it. Then I can't craft this anymore, but I do have 3 8/8s. I can also pop this thing with my demo field, but I don't really want to do that because I like my 3 steps ahead on top of my library. Making a copy of my synthesizer at instant speed seems pretty good. Another lockdown. I lied. They can have as much removal as they need. I lose this here. It's going to be one of the most tragic games of all time in my mind. It's at least how it's going to feel to me. Leave one on top. Probably another temporary lockdown, because why not? Maybe it could be double lightning helix too. Interesting way to potentially lose this game. My turn. I'm going to do this. The reason I'm opting to do this now is because I want to draw the Braided Net and play it. I lose the lightning helix, I lose the lightning helix. Times 2. Kind of where I'm at. Both those can go to the bottom. They're both pretty bad for me. And then I will play down this, which then I can tap this thing down over and over again. And I'll make 4 more constructs. They sacrifice. I think they're changing their mind on their top card. Oh no, they left it on top, so they have an answer for this. Okay, that's disgusting. Sure. Go for it. I hate to see that they sacrificed that just to get me good. They're like, I have 2 lightning helixes anyway. It doesn't actually matter. And No More Lives doesn't cover either of them. Sure. Tap it. Why we didn't let the Braided Net go? Second main? Sunfall? No? You have an answer to multiple 13/13s? Dude, if they have double lightning helix, I'm gonna be so upset. I'm pet. Rises off. It lost. Sure. Problem is I grew every single one of them. Make a fish. Now they can't have lightning helix, right? They can block 3 of these and they're still dead. Okay. Yeah, I'll take it. I swear I thought I was getting slow rolled. I thought they were like, sure, go to combat, double helix you, and I was gonna be so mad. I was gonna be so mad. But we get there. Very cool. Very cool. Go first. No synthesizer in hand, but kind of like good spot removal and a overall board wipe, and we get a look at a land potentially. So I'll definitely keep a hold of this hand. It's not a land, but it is like a mana source, right? So it's kind of hard to like decline myself that card. So I'll play the Foundry, especially considering it allows me to connect into a Braided Net, which I can constantly tap a creature down for. Bandits, bandit, bandit, bandit. Glass Casket seems the worst. Or is it Sunfall? I'm not entirely sure. Both don't necessarily feel the best. But with Glass Casket in the yard, I can always craft this to Glass Casket. I guess. I can always activate Braided Net here, but let's see. I doubt it's the thing I want to do. Bronco. Here's a cool thing. I can tap that and they can't activate it. That's their play. Shuts off the card, which is kind of funny. Not a very commonly known thing. We can just constantly shut stuff down. I think I'm just going to keep shutting it down, honestly. Next, next, next. Turn. You can knock that off. Pretty low on cards in my hand regardless, so I'm definitely being a little bit more defensive than maybe I need to be. And I'll tap this thing down. Sure, they can shield me or whatever. If I get lost for that. They don't have one. Sweet. Mightstone and Weakstone. Obviously, a little part of me wants to get rid of this Bronco, but I think I have to draw cards and try to find a synthesizer. Or just like any kind of win condition here. And we kind of find cool cards, I guess. This time I'll let them activate it. I'll let you activate it this time. But I will tap it if that's like the first thing they do this turn. Potentially. Actually, I have plenty of cards in hand. You can if you play lands, you go for double activation here, then feel free to. Feel free. Tap the Bronco. Not a whole lot of changes this turn. Might look to craft this now, getting rid of the casket in my graveyard. I do have a spring-loaded trap to kind of bop this preacher. Sure, take a draw. Synthesizer is huge. All right, we're locking in now, chat. We're locked in. Blue. Here. We have assembled quad. Those can both go to the bottom. I don't mind the land necessarily. I kind of wanted to draw the land. I just don't think I can. And we craft this. And the reason we craft this is because I can just do the Glass Casket here. That enter. Then they'll make me a construct. What was that? It was like a Minecraft block that just got put on my Braided Net. What was that? But here's my 6/6. He's a good boy. He's got some lights coming out of his chest. He's having a good time. Oh, they go for the pump. Sure. Pull that thing up. On my ELO. No way. Play land. Maybe go for a second one. Maybe have a long goodbye. Activate. Sure. I'll allow this activation. Liliana. Pretty good. That's not touching me. No touchy. Every time I say that's not touching me, the first thing I think of is Lilo and Stitch. Hey, he's touching me. I'm not touching you. That's the first thing I think of every single time. And it's so funny to me. Do I opt for the card draw? I might still Weakstone this. I kind of want to opt for the card draw. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, let's opt for the card draw. I'll take a draw 5 here. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons we take the draw 5. And now I can play here, accelerate my mana, and play this. Man, isn't it so exciting that Farewell's not in our format anymore? Oh, opponent, only if you saw the top 2 cards. I go first. We have ramp into 1000 Moon Smithy. Seems good enough to me. So we'll play off Adarkar Wastes. We'll play the other Waste. We'll just take 1 damage to Foundry. Then we'll play Mirrex and play 1000 Moon Smithy and hope it's good. Against control, it seems. Could be the mirror. There's a lot of things it could be. I see blue-white land. I cry a little. Now a little part of me just wants to play Thran Spider. Because I don't want to walk this into a no more lies. It's so good. So I'm going to opt to cast... Thran Spider. And get it hit with the no more lies. Sure. For me, personally, I know Thran Spider's good. I almost never want to counter a Thran Spider. I feel like as the control deck, we have so many other cards that are worth countering. But here's an Urza. Oh, nope. I can't use that mana. Why didn't ask me. Then this will get hit with the 3 steps ahead, I assume. If we know it's 3 steps ahead, we know no more lies is not in hand, because most likely you're going to want to hold 3 steps ahead and get value out of your no more lies while the mana is starting to get produced by your opponent. Here comes another Thran Spider, so we'll opt to use it. I could start also activating Mirrex. This is all to clear away for this 1000 Moon Smithy. And they've been so just like gun-ho on counter spells already. Like, sure, fire it off. 3 steps ahead of me again. The fact that they don't counter tells me 1 of 2 things. I think they have a counter spell. Obvious. I think they have a counter spell, but I think it's the last counter spell in their hand. I think if they had a second, like another one in hand, like a second one, or you can count it as a 4th one, or my opponent just concedes, very cool. But I think if they had another counter spell in hand, they would have fired it off again. But because they were being so conceited about it and like trying to hold it, I think it was their last one. So we're going to kind of play around that if we can. And if I can get an untapped source, I'm just going to look to activate this or just look to use Mirrex over and over again. And just kind of be aggressive that way instead of kind of putting the 1000 Moon Smithy on the stack and make it vulnerable. But that was my game plan. They concede, so now we don't have to do any of that. Ugin the Spirit Dragon, I've played you before. Because there's not many people with your name. You're mono red. Because I told them that Ugin would be disappointed in them. Although, I'm going to keep this hand. And I'm going to lose. Oh, well, sorry. They were gruel. Yeah, I mean, realistically, double Sunfall, not that great. I know, obviously, I drew one there. But I kept kind of on the back of 3 steps ahead. I'll switch my... Hey, you! Hey, my opponent might be cooler than me. Sunfall's sick here. Spring-Loaded Trap would be huge. Get Lost would be also equally big. Fair, fair. I'm actually kind of cool with this variation of the list that I'm seeing thus far. I'll play a Foundry. I think we have to. Then we'll see what happens. If they have lethal, they have lethal. No, they're just a cool gamer. All right, sick. I'm actually pretty excited about this. Like, I'm not excited that I'm getting slammed, but like, I'm kind of also excited that they're not just mono red. I don't know what to do here though. I played the wrong blue-white land. I just died. I am just dead. Okay, maybe not just dead, but feels pretty dead, you know? This one? I haven't played a single pump spell yet, so I guess I'll take out the biggest creature. Good game, opponent. You got it. Like, I think they're just going to untap and kill me. Unless they have Witch Talker Frenzies in hand. Gecko's so good here. Their deck's way cooler than what normal people play whenever they use aggro decks. Like this I'm like super fine with. This is unique. They're actually playing something interesting. There. You have 4 damage on board. Sort of 1? Like, oh man, I'm so dead. You don't have a lightning strike, right, opponent? You don't have it. Uh-oh. Oh, they have a scamp. Chat, I'm stressed out. Is there a way for me to hold up just 3 steps ahead? I don't even think so. Barely even do that. I have to do it the opposite way. Blow this up. I have to go get a white source. So scared. I've never been so scared in my life, dude. Oh man, I can bring up this 3/3 to block a haster. Next, in turn. Oh no, dude. They got it. No. No, we needed 1 turn. Oh. All the mono red players are out. This opponent also plays mono red. Or a variation of mono red. Or were they Boros? I don't know. They could be both. I believe in them. Yeah, they were the Boros deck. Okay. I couldn't remember which one they were. I have 3 mana. I think I just have to kind of try to get to Synthesizer. More often than not, Synthesizer is like a good enough answer. So yeah. I played a lot yesterday. The record sessions didn't go too well, so I kind of just like didn't end up uploading it at all. I don't know. It felt like I was losing every game. I was getting pretty tilted. I just didn't know what to do, honestly. We could try to pop this token, I guess. Just be like artifact efficient. My F12 key is like sticking out of my keyboard, and I'm not sure why. Okay, I didn't break anything. Right? I hope so. Please don't break anything. I think I'm good. I think we're good, chat. We demo this thing. Although this thing's kind of annoying as well. They're both not great. But I don't want to give them the Power Stone token just yet. One of the reasons why is because obviously they can then do the carrot cake stuff like a little bit freer. Like obviously they get to activate it here, and I'm not that opposed to it in comparison to them having that fountain port ready to go. But next turn they'll probably play the Urbrass Forge. Oh, well, they got a second one. Archangel Elspeth. We have a cool way to stop Archangel. I don't like that at all. Why would you give Elspeth an ability like that and then just say, yeah, you can't read it though, you know? Like it's not readable when they activate it like that. For me, I want to say it's supposed to be ramp here, even though it does give them a Power Stone they can use to kind of activate their fountain ports, stuff like that. But I think having a Thran Spider kind of sit in a way and block out is pretty good. At some point, I still have to find a Synthesizer. And realistically, this matchup will kind of come down to whether or not they get enough value in play before I get a Synthesizer going. Or the opposite, where it's like, they could temporary lockdown me. Which wouldn't be bad. They would lose their tokens. They would obviously go to combat, hit me first, and then Synthesizer, but... or temporary lockdown, but miss. So this is what I'm saying. I don't like the fact that that's like unreadable. If you saw the text, maybe you could pause it or whatever, but the Archangel Elspeth, you cannot read what that says, and I won't be told otherwise, and I don't believe you. But we can do cool stuff. I'll pause here. We'll scry too. What good card did I have? Both of those are kind of bad for right now. I think I have enough mana ready to go. So I'll play a Braided Net. Go make a construct for me. And then we'll pass. And kind of the cool play I have is I'll end my turn, and then on their upkeep I could tap their Archangel Elspeth, and then they can't actually use it, which is interesting. The way Braided Net works, it's like one of the things, if you haven't seen, they sacked the mana. All right, they're lockdowning. Fast. Tap that. Move. Now, it doesn't show it there. But now, so normally the card's like grayed out and they can't use it. But if they're going to temporary lockdown here anyway. Oh, there's no Brass Forge. Cool. A good card, obviously. I still feel like they have a lockdown. At least that's just how I feel. Yeah. Huh? Oh, you didn't want to sack that? Interesting. Interesting. Wait, everybody get ready. It's construct time. Can I Glyphbridge? Can I Mightstone, Weakstone? Okay, so this is a weird thing where I think I need to Mightstone, Weakstone first, and then draw some extra cards. And now this happens. I'll just draw some extra cards. We'll make another construct. Sunfalls are really cool here. I can now... I'm going to attack the Elspeth. Seems like a reasonable thing to do. That'll happen. Then I can just go ahead and play this other synthesizer. Scry first. Find a land. Glass Casket's not that great. And then I can activate here. Or stop on their upkeep. I still want to stop their Archangel Elspeth. And then I can end turn. And then I can tap their Elspeth. I think it's getting tapped for eternity, bro. I'm not letting it budge. It's not moving an inch. And then I get an Unstable Glyphbridge or Sunfall or do a lot of things here. A sack a token, I assume looking for a lockdown. If I can get to a situation where I can Braided Net tap a thing and then tap another thing, it'd be great. Second Carrot Cake's not great. Keep on top, so maybe they found an answer. Maybe they have an answer here. Yeah. It's honestly easier just to send it in as an attacker than it is to like try to skip through combat and not declare as an attacker. It's like so much easier to spam the spacebar. So now I can do one of two things. I can tap a thing, get lost a thing, and answer the Archangel, so I don't have to deal with it anymore, and that would be pretty cool for me. I will tap this creature because I want the lifelinkers to die. Kind of where I'm at. I'll play my land that they know about. I'll move to combat. I'm Unstable Glyphbridging after this turn. I'll attack the Archangel. Now they'll sack the candy or the Carrot Cake. Then I'll shoot the rabbit with the get lost. And then I'll just flip my Braided Net instead. I was saying if they remove one of my things, but instead I'll just pop this. Now if they temporary lockdown, they lose their map tokens too. Which I think is what it is. It's that or Sunfall in my mind that they have ready to go. Now they'll let all the combat games happen. Oh, now you care about all that nonsense, huh? Well, I can't say it's going to be easy. It ain't easy being cheesy, you know? Do that. Synthesizers will activate. We'll do this on this. So their top card that they've left on top for 3 turns will now be shuffled away. They've left it there multiple times, so grab a plains. And then I can activate this, so we just pause. And now we have 2 12-12s kind of holding the line. And we just have to win from here. Virtue, sure. I can beat that card, and I know that much. Even if they do lock the board down and they get everything here, it's not like I don't have other ways. And then if I draw, like, I'm going to draw 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cards. Sure. You got Sunfall now? Virtue. Alright, we're gonna have the growing contest. That's fine. I'll play this game. This game does feel weird because I feel like at times I feel like I'm behind, but realistically I'm in the driver's seat at all times. Alright, well, I have so many cards in hand I don't even know what's going on anymore. Can I win here? Do I have 3 sources of removal? 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so I win the game here. I'll play a Braided Net. It constructs. I will activate Braided Net, tapping this. I will then play a Braided Net. It constructs. I will activate Braided Net, and I will tap this here. I will then cast a Get Lost, removing a lifelinker from the game, and I will attack. I will absolutely crush this game. All right, well, I mean, it worked out pretty well. It felt pretty good. I enjoyed playing it a lot. We went back to blue-white, and we're playing kind of a different variation of it. One card that we didn't end up playing, which is kind of an oversight by your boy, is to play the Fountain Port. I think Fountain Port definitely makes a ton of sense whenever we have like so many artifact tokens that we make, whether it is Power Stone or whether it's like a construct that's going to get board wiped or whatever. Or we can even make treasure tokens, which actually will grow our board, which is very interesting. But yeah, this is deck list. Worked out well. I mean, I don't think outside of what we saw that we really need to do any more explaining than what it was. But the only thing I will recommend and things to consider is potentially putting Fable Passage in. We are at 25 lands, so you can argue to play a couple. And play Fountain Port if you have it. These aren't necessarily ever really going to win that much. I think this is definitely a better best of 3 card than it is in best of 1. I almost rather Fable Passage than Thin. But with that said, we could trim down on these, go up on these, and then play Laydown Arms for the best of 1 meta. Because Laydown Arms does exile, and it does it for the amount of planes you control. So I would probably recommend doing that. That is probably one change that I would make right away. Just because Laydown Arms is so good against this mono red deck that it comes out way too hot and it won't miss. Because the problem with like Spring-Loaded Trap is the thing's a 9/5 and we kill it with Spring-Loaded Trap, it still shoots you for 9. Like that doesn't feel that great. But if we can Laydown Arms it and kind of slowly go through the game, or even at situations use Laydown Arms on our own creatures, because they'll be 0 mana, we can gain some life and win some of those games. For example, one of the games we lost to a Lightning Strike. Not saying the Laydown Arms would have saved us there, but if we had like 2, maybe we exiled our own things, we could have lived if that was the case, or we just exiled theirs, we didn't have to take as much damage. We could have potentially saved ourselves. But outside of that, I mean, overall, this felt good. I honestly liked the 2 Glyphbridges and the 2 Sunfalls. Playing too many Glyphbridges sometimes sucks, because you do still end up leaving like a pesky creature alive that you just would rather them all go away instead of them staying around. But we also paired well against Boros. We played it a couple times. It worked out pretty well. Obviously, a lot of it kind of relies on the same thing as it does for them. They didn't have a caretaker talent, so it was a little bit weird. But Synthesizer just absolutely crushes, right? Synthesizer in any mid-range matchup is just the hard lock card. And that's why I've always been about this deck. Because if we get to this mid-range meta ever, and people are just always about it, Synthesizer can dominate that space. And I love Synthesizer. I think it's a cool card, and I enjoy it. That's why I built my entire commander deck around it. It's a KCI combo pile. Craig's Clan's Ironworks, if you're curious. You can look it up. That card is disgusting, and I love playing Synthesizer with it because I infinitely combo. So it's very cool, but I enjoyed it. And I also enjoyed playing less counter spells. Even though 3 steps ahead is kind of a copy effect, but not playing No More Lives was pretty nice. Just kind of being like, here's my turn, pass, you got it or you don't kind of thing. Not have to kind of hold up mana instead of playing like the Fabrication Foundry. It kind of makes you play a little bit cleaner. Not having to counter spells and making a mistake with it or not. But outside of that, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.